Alright, so what's good everyone? A tier list of presumably every track from my favorite artists of all time. Just a couple things before I start though. I want to say, you see S, A, B, C, D tier. I don't know if there's going to be any D tier tracks, but there are going to be some C tier tracks. If you're just here to see someone just on their knees for Nujabes, that's not me, he's my favorite artist, but that's exactly why I'm going to be honest. Second thing, I am not a Nujabes channel. Do not subscribe to me expecting to see more Nujabes content or Nujabes related content, because that's not gonna happen. I just make shit on whatever the fuck I want. Right now I'm talking about Nujabes. The next video could be me talking about fucking, I don't know, fucking Guilty Gear. Third thing, I am a huge Nujabes fan, but there are probably some remixes and stuff like that, or some like one-off tracks that I probably haven't heard. And if I do encounter them here, I will make the attempt to listen to them. And the only reason that's important is because sometimes it's hard to fully appreciate a track with just one listen. But for the most part, I should know most of these songs. So let's hurry up and get started, because this is gonna be a fucking long one. Okay, so interestingly enough, the tier list starts with a track off of his posthumous album, Spiritual State, with the song Spiritual State featuring Uyama Hiroto, who is an amazing artist who released one of my favorite modern jazz albums of all time, Freeform Jazz. But let me not talk about Uyama. Like a lot of songs on that album, it is very meditative. I'm very willing to put it B tier. I like the percussion on it. The piano is really nice. Honestly, if you see Uyama Hiroto and you hear a piano on it, I'm not saying it's him, but usually whenever he's on a track and there's a piano on it, it sounds fucking beautiful. There's another example of that on the same album. So yeah. Okay, so other side of phase. I knew this one seemed familiar, and it's because it is the instrumental for Battlecry. If you go out and look up the fucking instrumental breakdown for Battlecry, it is simultaneously, I'm gonna sound crazy here, but it is simultaneously the craziest thing ever and also the most simple thing ever. And as someone that used to make beats, that's something I would never think to do, which is why that's one of the reasons why I regard Nujabes so highly, because he just takes simple ideas that you would never think to do and just basically maxes that shit out. And that is a really good example of this track right here. I'm gonna put it in A tier just because it's the instrumental track. If it was the one with Shingo 2 on it, I would put it S tier. Alright, Lovesick Part 3 is not my favorite entry in the series, but I'm gonna put it right here. I'm almost thinking about putting it over Other Side of Phase just because it has Shingo 2 on it, whereas other Side of Phase is literally just the Battlecry instrumental. But even though I think it's an A tier track, I actually don't have much to say about it. I just like listening to it quite a bit. Although when it comes to my more favorite entries in the Lovesick series, there are some ones where I'm gonna have quite a bit to say about it. So yeah. First S tier. After Hanabi, Listen to My Beats. This one is so Nujabes has a thing for making super atmospheric tracks, but for some reason this one is especially so. And dog, I'm telling you right now, that shit just it's literally, you put this shit on and it's nighttime and you just teleported to a different fucking place for also like 5 minutes. It's fucking crazy. Horn in the Middle. So I forgot to say, there are gonna be some C tier tracks, but there's also gonna be a lot of S tier tracks, and I say that now because there's another S tier right here. I don't know if I like it more than After Hanabi, but Horn in the Middle is, I don't want to say it's a defining sound of Nujabes' like earlier stuff, but basically and I don't want to say that because here's the thing. When people think of Nujabes' earlier sound, I don't know what they think about. So I don't want to say it's the definitive sound of 2003 and earlier Nujabes. But what I will say though is it is a defining sound of metaphorical music because of how much harder it leans into hip hop, I would say. Whereas Modal Soul is also hip hop, but metaphorical music. Here's how I would think about it. You know, I'm not gonna explain myself. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically, something about Horn in the Middle just feels very 2003 Nujabes to me. I believe this is dtfn, and yeah, it is dtfn. So I like the beat. It has like a playful start to it. But I would say it's a B tier track. And this is definitely not my favorite side star feature on here. See if you can guess. I just had, I feel like I have to put a B tier because I don't have that much to say about it. But then again, I didn't have that much to say about fucking Lovesick Part 3 and it's an A tier. I don't know, it's just a sound. It's a sound thing. Another reflection, B tier. I think this is the opening track to Collection 2. I might bump it down actually. I might just bump it down only because I can actually remember a lot of DTFN, but Another Reflection is something I would actually have to listen to remember anything about it, which sounds weird, right? But then again, here's the thing. Is that a bad thing? Because a lot of times, a lot of Nujabes stuff, like, okay, Another Reflection, Color of Autumn, those kind of tracks, I feel like those tracks are very in-the-moment tracks. But I don't know, I'm just gonna put it in C tier. Because otherwise I feel like I'm being a little too generous to it. Waltz for Life Will Born, which is either a Uyama track or Uyama feature, and he fucking kills it. I think this is an S tier track actually. It is very jazzy and all that stuff. And actually, something to consider is that I'm not really into jazz. I'm not a huge jazz guy. I appreciate jazz's role in the development of hip-hop, but I'm just not that into jazz. For the most part. I listen to jazz here and there, right? So if I can fuck with a track like Waltz for Life Will Born as much as I do, that says quite a bit. And obviously, Uyama, or presumably Uyama, comes in with some crazy fucking solos throughout the track. Crazy, and I really love the end with the piano. So fucking good, man. So fucking good. I'd say it's on equal standing with a horn in the middle. It's interchangeable. I think that's supposed to be Prayer. Prayer is a really emotional track. I would put it over DTFN, but not over Spiritual State. I think the standout part of this track is the flute. I don't know if it's sampled or if it's Nujabes himself, because Nujabes was a flute player. But yeah. The final view, I'll put it right here. So the final view has almost the same effect to me as After Hanabi, where it's very transportative. I don't know if that's a word. Very atmospheric. You could almost say anxiety relieving. So yeah, I really like the final view. Strive, I'm actually not a huge fan of Strive. So Apani B is an interesting rapper when it comes to featuring with Nujabes. I'm not a huge fan of Strive at all. I think the beat doesn't really do it for me. I can actually hear it in my head right now and I'm just like, it's just not a very standout beat, you know? Yeah, so after listening to it a bit, a lot of the sounds sound like they're clashing. I will say I really do like the drums. And the thing about Apani B is that she has a really, I would call it an eccentric flow that really needs a specific sounding beat to sound really nice on, which we'll get to that. But yeah, I think it's a C tier track. It's actually one that's not even in my playlist. Waiting for the Clouds to Part was Substantial. Funny thing about Substantial is I was playing Muse Dash recently, and I saw Substantial on a Arknight song, and I was like, what the fuck? They got Substantial on this shit? Hey man, Arknight's... Listen, I played Arknights for like 1 week. Enfield, I was still playing Enfield, but Arknight's the mobile game. I played that shit for 1 week. And even though I wasn't a huge fan of it, I respect everything they do with that fucking game, man. It looks like they put a lot of love into that shit. They got fucking Substantial on there. They got a bunch of other artists like DJ Okawari on there. And it's just like, these guys, Arknight's devs, they know what's up. So, but Waiting for the Clouds to Part, I think is the closer track to this album. And it's great piano, great beat. I love Substantial's flow on these kind of beats. Yeah, I think Substantial has the perfect voice for these kind of tracks. Obviously, I don't think Substantial's ever even a bad feature. He has some verses here and there that I think at worst feel average, but at worst, Substantial is average, which is a good thing in the grand scheme of things. Would I put it over Lovesick Part 3? No way. But it's still A tier. Okay, here's the one I really want to talk about. Lose My Religion. Featuring L Universe. So I'm a picky rap fan, right? There needs to be so many specific things in a rap song for me to actually like it, right? And in the case of L Universe, I do not like his voice at all. That is an extremely raspy voice. Not a huge fan of it. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing objectively wrong with a raspy voice. There's plenty of rappers out there with a raspy voice. It's just not my thing, and it's not really something I'd be caught listening to. I prefer more voices like, again, Substantial, Lauryn Hill, Mick Jenkins, Mos Def, those kind of rappers, that kind of voice, Nas, AZ. And the thing is, I really do like the beat, actually. I would say within the C tier, it is my favorite beat. It's just that I can't listen to it, dog. I have picky fucking ears. I just do. And I cannot listen to this shit. Okay, Perfect Circle. If it was the instrumental, I would put it higher. And that sounds really mean to say about Shingo 2. It doesn't say featuring Shingo 2. I'm pretty sure Shingo 2 is on Perfect Circle. We just say he is. I'm too lazy to check. So, my rating for Perfect Circle comes down to this. It's a great beat that lasts a little too long, that it doesn't have what it takes to go on for that 4 minutes. But that only applies if you're listening to the instrumental, right? Because you also need to take in the rap. But I don't think Shingo 2 sounds that good on Perfect Circle. Which sounds really mean, but listen, I got some more praise coming for Shingo 2, okay? Feather. If I don't put this in S tier, I'm fucking stupid. Right there. Feather is interesting because it is one of Nujabes' most popular songs. But honestly, I wouldn't even say it's super representative of his work, right? If I had to think like of a Nujabes track to say this is Nujabes for you, I would point out shit from like Letter from Yokosuka, maybe World's End Rhapsody, maybe Sea of Clouds, but I would not point out Feather. And that's not to say it's a bad thing, it's an A tier. And like the title, it's a very light track. I fuck with it. Great beat, even if it's not. Here's the thing about Nujabes. He can take a sample and I feel like he always knows what's best for it. Or he always knew what was best for it, right? So sometimes he'll flip the fuck out of a sample, like in Lovesick Part 1. And other times he'll keep it relatively simple, like on Feather or Aruarian Dance. Or shit like that, right? So he just had an ear of knowing what's best for a sample. Do I flip this sample or do I just leave it as is? Do I slow it down? Do I pitch it up? Do I do anything else to it? You know, that kind of shit. Do I add on to it with a flute, with another instrument? That kind of stuff. But yeah, a Feather A tier. Windspeaks, man. This shit speaks to my fucking soul right here. This is the best song so far. I don't think it's even technically a Nujabes track. It is technically an Uyama Hiroto track. If I remember right. If I remember the credits right on Wikipedia. This song to me is a lot of fucking things. It's powerful. It sounds sweet, if that makes any sense. That part, I love that part so much. The ending part to it. Uyama is amazing with closing off tracks. Can we just say that? I don't know if it was Uyama's decision there or Nujabes', whoever's decision it is, amazing at closing off songs. And obviously, Uyama's on the track. You're gonna hear a crazy fucking sax. Really good perks. I think they're bongos. Love it. Love everything about this track, man. It is genuinely a 10 out of 10 track. Lovesick Part 6. This is also up there. This is the part where I can actually praise Shingo 2. It's actually hard to, I don't know if it would be higher than Horn in the Middle. I'll put it right here. Another case of a rather simple beat from Nujabes. but also very powerful. It sounds heavenly. It sounds like you're ascending to heaven, which is intentional given the lyrics, right? And the reason why I'm excited to talk about this is because I could talk about Shingo 2. Shingo 2 has an awkward flow, right? Which I wouldn't necessarily say is a bad thing because it shines really brightly on tracks like these that feel really genuine and heartfelt, and in this case, in the case of Lovesick Part 6, really heavenly. So his awkward flow actually is a benefit here, which is really interesting to me. And I love it lyrically. It's very sweet. It's very touching. Love it. It's great. And now I'm gonna tell you right now, I have listened to this Substantial album, but there were only 2 tracks on it where I put on my playlist. That sounds fucked up, but I'm not gonna rank them only because it wouldn't feel right. Because I think it was like 1 or 2 years ago now that I listened to it. I don't remember this track in particular. There is gonna be a couple tracks that I do remember that I will be willing to rank, but this is not one of them. So I'm just gonna skip over it. I know I'm a fake fan. Okay, Lyrical Terrorist. I'd say it's higher. It's higher than Lose My Religion, and I think this is another L Universe track. Okay, so you already know how I feel about that. I do fuck with the beat quite a bit, and again, Substantial as a feature never really has anything worse than average, right? To bring to the table, and I do remember liking his verse here. I like the beat, but again, it's not a track you're gonna catch me listening to. Oh, Latitude. Okay, so the thing about this track is, lyrically, in terms of flow, love it. I think it complements the beat perfectly. The only thing is, it sounds so muddied under the beat, to the point where a lot of the times I'm listening to this track, I am completely listening to the beat, right? Whereas on a track like Lovesick Part 6, I'm listening to both the lyrics and the beat, because it doesn't feel like either of them is taking over. In the case of this track, I don't know, I just end up listening to the beat a lot more than the lyrics. Alright, Hikari featuring Substantial. I think he's telling a story about some girl trying to get with him even though he's got a wifey at home. And the beat is really nice, it's emotional and touching and stuff. Well, it wasn't touching, that's where I'm gonna say why I didn't like this track. It's maybe the only feature I've heard from Substantial where I'm just like, does this really need to be said? Because here's the thing, dog, if you got wifey at home, don't even acknowledge this. This just sounds so mean to say, but like, if you got wifey at home, you got wifey at home, man. Don't even acknowledge this other girl. Even if it is a situation where it's like, oh, she actually genuinely does fuck with you, you still got wifey at home, man. And the thing is, the lyrics do come off as very kind and soft. It's just, it's not for me. I'm just saying, if you got wifey at home, you got wifey at home. If this other girl's fucking with you, great, man, but I don't know, make a song for the wifey, which Substantial has done, and you'll see where I put that. Dawn on the Side. So Dawn on the Side is interesting in that whenever it comes on, I don't really ever skip it, but I never go out of my way to play it. Whatever instrument is playing the main melody, it has a very interesting sound to it. Other than that, I do feel like it's a pretty standard Nujabes track, so yeah. And speaking of Spiritual State, it's commonly known that Uyama Hiroto finished the album for Nujabes, and no matter how close they were, there is no way that Uyama captured what Nujabes was thinking with this album. So I wonder how accurate or how close Uyama Hiroto got, and how much of Uyama's own sound ended up influencing the final product. Alright, Lady Brown. Come on, man. I think it's at the bottom of S tier, but S tier regardless. Maybe my favorite side star feature from Nujabes. Strong beat from Nujabes. Plenty of switch ups here and there to keep it interesting and fresh. The lyrics themselves are very sweet. They're romantic. They're wholesome. And they're very touching. I think rap could use a lot more of that. So yeah, easy S tier for me. I think that's all that needs to be said about it. The only line that comes off as weird is "You smell like a happy birthday on a Thursday." I still don't know what that fucking means, man. I still have no clue what that means. Still Talking to You is actually, I don't see people give this track a lot of love, but I actually really like this one. I don't really have anything to say about it on a technical level, but it's still just a really nice track. I wouldn't put it over Love Sick Part 3, but I'll put it right there. Now, Reflection Eternal. Call me crazy, but that's where that goes. I do like listening to it. I love listening to it, actually. It's a solid Nujabes track. Something about it feels empty, doesn't it? Like, I don't know, I feel like it needed maybe just one more instrument to fill the space. But at the same time, I might assume that's its low keyness is why people like it. I don't fucking know. I just can't put it S tier. Blessing It is fucking amazing. I remember actually at my most recent job, there's this white nerdy looking guy. I listened to a lot of old school hip hop. I was like, oh shit. And one day he just has Blessing It on the speakers we got. I'm like, holy shit, okay, I see you. And the funny thing is, before that, he did play a little bit of Lady Brown before fucking skipping it. And I was like, does he fuck with Nujabes? I'm kind of anxious in real life and at work, so my work round is to not talk to anyone. But if there's ever been a time where I wanted to talk to another coworker besides the one guy I always talk to, it would be that guy. Well, he would be one of the people I want to talk to. But yeah, Blessing It is a great track. I love the beat. It sounds so airy and light and fucking just substantial. And Pace Rock just spin over a fucking nice ass beat from Nujabes. This is another track that I would say is indicative of Nujabes at this time, at this period in his career. Okay, so Horizon closes off Modal Soul, and I would say it's a very low S tier, maybe high A tier. I think it's a great closing track. I especially love the end where it sounds like really kind of like mellowed out and just kind of isolated and stuff like that. I don't know if that's the right word. I'm not music guy. I don't know music terminology. There's a really nice piano backed by some nice drums. And I don't know, it's just a really nice closing track to Modal Soul. Possibly my favorite album of all time. And I would also say, so Peaceland and Horizon both play the same roles on their respective albums, right? I would say Horizon does a way better job of it, because Horizon is just a lot more interesting to listen to throughout the entire track. So yeah. Don't Even Try is a fun track. It is a fun track. I think that's the best thing I could say about it. It is a fun track. Alright, Whose Theme is very interesting because depending on the day, I do fuck with it a lot more than Shiki no Uta. If I were Blessing It, maybe. I think it's very close. These two are close. Whose Theme, amazing vocals. Really nice beat from Nujabes. It is another, I think, anxiety relieving track from Nujabes, which tends to be the case for Nujabes in every case. But I really like this track, you know? It is, I love this track. It's just really nice to listen to. Counting Stars, another popular track from Nujabes, and for the one time I will agree, it is fucking up there. Is it better than Horn in the Middle though? I'll put it right here, man. And then looking at this, Collection 2 actually has a lot of fucking bangers. I don't consider it my favorite Nujabes album, but I'm gonna have to reevaluate that. Counting Stars, obviously Samurai Champloo, but also really nice beat, super atmospheric, all that good stuff. Basically everything you would expect from Nujabes, but like double on Counting Stars. I really like the shakers at the end, and also is another Nujabes track where it keeps itself interesting and fresh throughout the entire song. So yeah. Island featuring Uyama Hiroto and Haruka Nakamura. Okay, so I think I said the Substantial track is the last track on the album, not even close. Well, it's kind of close. It was like the third to last one. But it's actually Island. And in that regard, I think it handles itself about as well as Horizon. As far as the closing track goes, I would go Horizon, Island, then Peaceland. Where did I put it? Right here. It's really nice. It's jazzy. It sounds very conclusive. And also really fucking... I'm actually listening to it right now. It's kind of making me choke up a little. It's also very it sounds a little lonely and fucking. I'm gonna have to put this shit higher. This shit making me fucking cry. Hold up. I think yeah, it has to go higher. There's no fucking way. This shit making me choke up right now. But there's one more word I want to use to describe it, which is it does feel like a farewell episode in terms of sound, right? It sounds like, I don't know. Remember in free run? Can I say this? Okay, free run spoilers. I'm bringing up a very specific example because it's the first thing I can think of off the top of my head. I can't think of the fucking word right now, so I'm gonna use a fucking anime to explain. In free run, this is first season spoilers. When Sign splits off from free run, Fern, and Stark, that's what this feels like. Although in that case, it wasn't nearly as sad. It's just that I don't know. It's the best example I could come up with. Imaginary folklore. God fucking damn. Holy shit. Wait, listen, I'm gonna have to reevaluate what Collection 2 is because holy shit. This is really putting into perspective how I feel about this shit. Imaginary folklore. I love it. I think the story is about someone standing over like the after effects of like a tsunami or something. I might be making that up right now. I actually might just be making that up. But amazing strings, great beat, amazing vocals. I love it. It's so subdued, but also very emotional at the same fucking time. So fucking good, man. I think this is one of the most well-mixed Nujabes tracks. Especially toward my favorite part is towards the ending, where that string becomes more consistent, more constant and stuff like that behind the vocals. God fucking damn, man. It hits me in my fucking feelings every fucking time, dog. So fucking good. And I really like the title of the track. If it's not obvious, it's one of my favorite fucking Nujabes tracks of all time. One of my favorite songs of all time. And I love the way it ends where it's just this held note. It's just a held note. Simple. Love it. Sky is Falling opens up with a really nice sax. I confuse this with Sky is Tumbling. Great beat, really nice lyrics. CL Smooth, his flow sounds great on this shit. And that's one of the things about rap where you can have whatever flow you want, you just need to know what sounds good on it. Like, I was gonna bring up a really stupid example, but I'm not even gonna get into it. But yeah. Really solid track. Pace Rock. Is this yes? Yes it is. I think the kicks are a bit much on this track, but overall I'd still say it's a solid track, and the piano is fucking beautiful. Pace Rock, as a feature and a rapper, funny enough, he's not the most frequent rapper, but I would say he's also up there at the same time. I don't think it's still talking. I don't think it's over still talking to you, but the A tier. Think Different, strong track. Strong fucking track. Let me see. No, it can't go that high. But still pretty high. Think Different is, for me, a formulative track because I started listening to Nujabes when I was in my teenage years. I already kind of had this mindset, and I think this song really helped kind of like push me more so into that shit. And to also be more open-minded. I think I've always been open-minded, at least somewhat, but this track really helped me out with that. So in a way, it might be, at least when I was a teenager, the most influential track on me. Substantial. The dog, between like interviews and like the shit he's had moments where he talks to the crowds at like his shows and stuff, and the shit he raps about, you could tell he's a real one, and he seems like a really cool fucking guy. Alright, so Let Go featuring Nujabes from Haruka Nakamura's album, which I actually do highly recommend if you fuck with Nujabes. Melodica, that's the name. Actually, not my favorite song off the album. I actually might put it right here. So everything about it screams Haruka Nakamura, besides the obvious flute, which I'm assuming it is in Nujabes, and that's assuming that's as far as his feature goes. Everything else feels very Haruka Nakamura. It's a solid track. Nujabes, always nice on the flute. I always welcome the addition of a Nujabes flute. Thank You, featuring a Pani B. I can finally talk about Pani B. I might like it more than Blessing, actually. It's close. So, this is the track. This is the best example in the fucking world about, with a Pani B's flow, you need an instrumental like this. It sounds very high-strung, it sounds energetic, it sounds free, all that fucking stuff. This is the kind of beat that a rapper like a Pani B needs. Someone with an eccentric flow, a flow that's really out there, and of course lyrically, Pani B keeps it simple. It's very sweet, it's touching. Fuck with it. Fly By Night has like a fucking, it sounds like a superhero track. I put a top beats here. I'm not a huge fan of the hook, and sometimes I do wish rappers would skip the hook. Unless, I can't even say that though, because there's some rappers that are really good at hooks, and there are some rappers that can literally fucking sing like Mick Jenkins. So I don't fucking know. I don't know. It's just, it's never a track I would go out of my way to listen to, right? Letter from Yokosuka, easy S tier. Easy S tier. Oh my god, I think I have to put it that high. So, Letter from Yokosuka is fucking everything to me, man. It's just, it has a really touching sound. It sounds nostalgic. It makes you reminisce some stuff on like life and stuff like that. Really nice beat in general, really nice sound to it. It's really gentle. Along with the touches. There are some touches of, I wouldn't even say touches, it's very in your face about it. There's a East Asian sound in there that I just love. I wish, in general, East Asian, Southeast Asian, Central Asia, I wish these sounds were incorporated more into hip-hop, because goddamn, there's a lot of sample potential, man. And as someone that used to make beats, I would always be looking at like Southeast Asian music all the fucking time to see, you know, what I could maybe do with this, because the potential is there. It's just no one's really done it. But like a lot of the great Nujabes tracks, Letter from Yokosuka also has enough things going on where it keeps shit interesting for the entire track. I love this shit, man. It's a never skip. Lovesick Part 2, solid. I love Lovesick Part 2. Lovesick Part 2 feels, in terms of sound, almost the most romantic, besides there's one specific track that I'm thinking of in my head that is has a much more romantic vibe to it. But it sounds very light. It sounds like the start of a crush, even though I haven't had a crush in fucking years. Yeah, it sounds like the start of a crush. It sounds very wholesome. And I think as we go on, you're gonna hear me say wholesome a lot. That is one of the best ways to describe Nujabes' stuff. It's why I gravitate towards it so much. There's a very specific kind of rap that I don't like.
Can we get a break from the strippers on the PO? Aight, nigga, we know. Okay, nigga, we know.
which makes me all the more grateful for stuff like Nujabes. Okay, I'm just gonna put it like that. Summer Gypsy is interesting to me because when I was younger, it was sometimes a skip. But I really like it these days. I really like the house inspiration on it, leading into the more typical Nujabes sound. I think it actually just goes right there. A Day by Atmosphere Supreme. I think this might be my least favorite track on... It's either between this or Latitude. I would give it to Latitude. A Day by Atmosphere Supreme, it is very atmospheric. It is a very much a track I would see myself listening to on the way to work. In the middle of the day. The only thing is, I feel like sometimes it gets a little repetitive. Beat Lament, holy fucking shit. I have to. It has to go that high. It has to. God damn, man. Beat Laments the World is fucking insane. I don't know what it is about Beat Laments the World, but I could listen to that shit forever. I could listen to this shit forever, man. And it's just, there's just that one part in the middle where you get a little like breakdown for like 10 seconds.
Joint sound hitting now, freestyle written down. Flow is played out, money, you need to get that shit in style. Joint sound hitting now, freestyle written down. Flow is played out, money, you need to get that shit in style. Joint sound hitting now, freestyle written down. Flow is played out, money, you need to get that shit in style.
And there's a little piano here and there that helps with keeping it fresh and stuff like that. I don't even know how to describe the sound of Beat Laments the World, but I fucking love it, dog. It is so fucking good. So fucking good. And the piano, I want to say something about the piano, is that it sounds very, almost climactic. Like, it sounds very cinematically climactic, which is, I don't know if I sound dumb saying that, but that's just the way it sounds to me. It's like... Moonstrut. Moonstrut is a very interesting thing. I would say right here. The thing about short tracks is that you can never really say they overstayed their welcome. And that I think that is the case for Moonstrut. And then another interesting thing about Moonstrut is that there are some vocals on it that feel very off-key, but it doesn't feel off-key to the point where it's unlistenable. It just feels, it is as like kind of like a layer of authenticity to it, which is something Nujabes does pretty often. Like I think on I forgot which track it was, but it doesn't sound off-key to the point where you can't listen to it, you know? Music is mine. Holy shit, man. There we fucking go, dog. I could not believe this was Nujabes singing this shit when I first realized apparently it's not sampled, it's just Nujabes singing. That's the craziest part to me. He has a really nice voice, by the way. It sounds so familiar to me that there was a point where I was so desperate to hear where this shit came from, where I texted my friend, I was like, does this shit sound familiar to you? Like, I must have heard it somewhere before, but I don't know, I guess the melody is just, it's Nujabes. It's just Nujabes, it's not sampled. But you know what? Music is Nujabes's, and he made that very clear. I think it's just City Lights. City Lights is interesting because it's a really nice beat. Percussion's really nice. Good piano. Pace rock and substantial individually bring nice verses. It's just, I don't think they have the best chemistry in terms of vocals when it came to doing the duo thing towards the end. I think there's just too much of a difference in their voices for them to do that. Compared to something like, let's say, on the newest Eclipse record.
Sure they want me hit her like an archer, but I'm not that sprint, so I starve her. How we fit 30 studs in the collar, open the sunroof, wave to my father, remembering the shipments at the...
But that's a track where I feel like they nailed that shit.
And And they all knew what it was from the first glance. No excuses, should've planned in advance, man.
Documented on Pro Tools, a task hand. Struggling hustles of an ordinary black man.
Spin a record with a 2-week lifespan. Can't find a good girl, so we hooked the mic stand.
Not a lot of paper left in his right hand. Making enemies of folks he treated like fam.
In the case of this, it doesn't sound consistent enough. It almost sounds jarring in a way. And also, I lied. I listened to it to give myself a refresher. It happens in the middle of the track. That's what I'm talking about. Winter Lane is a really interesting track because even though it is atmospheric, it is not really a calming experience. It literally sounds like it. Well, the song's called Winter Lane. It sounds like you're driving and it's like just snowing out a little, and you can't really see much, right? But it's still a really nice listen. Would I put it that high? I would put it somewhere around. I'll put it right there. Okay, Peaceland. Call me crazy, but I'm not a huge fan. This is another one that's not on my playlist, actually. Although I would say it's the best of the C tiers. Funny enough, I can hear it in my head right now. It's kind of a droning experience, and I understand that Nujabes tried to make it work for the entire, 7 minutes? I'm just saying, in my opinion, he didn't stick the landing. So, yeah. Sea of Cloud. I love this track. The drums and percussion are so interesting on this one. I will say this. It sounds like zone out music, which almost sounds insulting because it's like, okay, if you're zoning out to a song, that means you're not interested in the song. But I don't know, I just play it and I just like draw or some shit, you know? Like there are just some tracks where it's perfect for drawing and there are some tracks that aren't perfect for drawing. Like I'm not gonna listen to, I'm trying to think of an example, I'm not gonna listen to Lyrical Terrorist while I'm drawing. I'm not gonna listen to Lyrical Terrorist in the first place, but you see what I'm saying. Under the Hood? They got hoods in Japan? Hold on. Okay, so this track here, Under the Hood, apparently there is some confusion as to whether or not Nujabes even produced this shit. Lyrically, the rap sounds great, it's very smooth. But I'm not gonna rate it because I don't know if it's Nujabes or not. It might, I don't know if it's not Nujabes. I don't want to like go around spreading misinformation. You know what I'm saying? I think Nujabes already gets overcredited enough with the Samurai Champloo soundtrack, so I'm not gonna add on to that shit. Plasma Avenue. I always forget that Nujabes has this track. It's really a nothing instrumental. God damn, that sounds so fucked up to say. Can I say this? Am I allowed to say this? He's my favorite artist. Fuck you if you get offended. It's kind of a nothing instrumental in my opinion. It's not really standout at all. And this is 5Ds? I thought it was Space Rock. I don't know, apparently 5Ds. Not the most interesting flow or cadence. And the hook where they're singing is not good. I wish sometimes rappers sing. Sometimes they sing really badly and it's charming like Doom. Other times they sing really badly, like in this case, and it's just nothing. World's End Rhapsody. This shit right here, never skip. Never skip. It sounds... World's End Rhapsody sounds so cinematic. I love that it's the same sample, but it's done in 3 different ways across the track. Especially towards the end where it sounds really powerful and stuff like that. Love this shit. I have no issues with this. And it is also a good example of Nujabes kind of shifting towards that house inspiration / sound towards the end of his career. Was it 2004? Was that? I'll just say this. Nujabes was shifting towards house. And I think this is a strong representation of that. I wouldn't say the entire track is house, but especially the start and the inspiration kind of keeps going from there, right? Even if it's not as strong as the first minute or so. The Sign, another strong track. So The Sign is actually very political, and as someone that's been, I don't want to say it's overtly political. I don't know if that's the right word, but as someone that has been educating myself for the past 1 or 2 years politically, it comes off as, first of all, you don't like politics, skip. Second of all, if you're scared of politics, I don't know what to tell you. because it affects you no matter what you think. As someone that's been getting into politics for the past 1 or 2 years, this song really speaks to me. Because before I got into politics, I feel like he was just saying shit. Now I really understand it. And first of all, the instrumental is great. It's really jazzy and all that stuff. I love it. But Pace Rock is saying some real shit here that I think more people should listen to. But yeah, unfortunately, Without Soul was 2004 and it is still very relevant, and Pace Rock even specifically points fingers at the American people and their ignorance. And I think that shit still holds up very well, unfortunately. Like literally, within the past fucking 5 months, I've heard just anti-trans nonsense and just out of fucking, for no fucking reason. It just, it's very unfortunate how certain people are treated, whether it be their skin color, their sexual orientation, or their self-identification, just through sheer ignorance on the part of American people. But next, Home Sweet Home is a great track. I'm assuming Nujabes provides the flute, and he fucking kills this shit, man. He fucking kills this shit. I don't know if it's overlaid brown, but yeah. And I love that substantial, you know, he's repping the place he's from. Classic subject matter. Love it. I think it's important to never forget where you're from, you know? Because where you grow up really does shape you. Steadfast is super interesting because I feel like a lot of Nujabes fans forget that Nujabes can have some very crazy music. He wasn't always about his super chill music, right? And I say that, but honestly Steadfast can be considered chill depending on who you are. But I love the piano on this shit. It sounds so urgent. And I love the fucking drums on it. Where would I put it? I would put it right here actually. This one's a really interesting, Old Light, very interesting track. Great beat, solid lyrics from Pace Rock, I believe. Unfortunately, even though I have it this high, I don't have much to say about it other than I really like the track. I hate it when I can't really break down why I like something, but honestly, when it comes to music, I'm kind of illiterate in the first place. Like I could talk my ass off about like video games and fucking anime and shit, but when it comes to music, sometimes I'm just have nothing to fucking say besides I really like it. I think that's the effect of using Twitter when I was fucking 14 years old. I'm just permanently damaged by that shit. I haven't touched that shit in like 8 fucking years. But Lovesick Part 4 is arguably the best one in the series. I love String's lyrics on it. It's really touching, it's super fucking romantic, it's really sweet. There's a part where he says,
when you took my hand, I couldn't hide it. Way too delighted. Tried to ride it cool, but obliged to ride it. Wouldn't fight it. Had my watch pause when I put my lips on your eyelids.
and it's mostly the way the beat comes back in, along with the way he says that, and the lyrics themselves, that really makes that part like super fucking like elating to me. I listen to that shit, I'm just like, oh my god, that's so fucking cute. I love this shit, man. I might put it over Music Is Mine, actually, I'm not sure. And the beat sounds so soft and comforting and stuff like that. Despite the typical boom bap drums, it somehow pairs so well together. And this is another great example of how Shing O2's flow just fits over certain fucking beats and certain subject matters. This shit is amazing. I think it's Lovesick Part 1 and it's going right. Alright, so these 3 tracks right here are very similar in terms of how much I adore them. Lovesick is amazing. God fucking damn, Lovesick Part 1 might be one of the craziest flips I've ever heard in hip hop. And I don't care what no one says about, I'm not gonna bring his name up. But what I will say though is, Nujabes a lot of times keeps it relatively simple. He'll just take a loop it, maybe he'll add an instrument to it, maybe he'll distort it somehow, or whatever. In the case of Lovesick, he said fuck that shit, I'm flipping the shit out of both of these samples. The shit at the beginning could be its own fucking beat on its own track, but even that wasn't enough. He flips the piano sample, lets that shit play out, flips it again, and then flips it again. I'm pretty sure he flips it 3 different fucking times on the track. And Shingo 2 sounds amazing on this shit. And the drums, I think these might be Nujabes' best drums. So fucking good. Lovesick Modal Soul remix. I think it's pretty good. Obviously, a lot of the times remixes don't really hold up to the original. In this case, I think it's still a fucking great track. The beat is great, but not nearly as... It doesn't have the same chemistry as the original. And naturally, it's a remix, so yeah. But it's a remix worth listening to. Next View with Yama Hiroto, amazing. Oh shit, I don't know if I think it is better than Lovesick Part 1 for me. This is another example of Nujabes not really making the most chill music. Now you can say the beginning is chill, but as it goes on, as it ramps up, it explodes into this crazy amount of energy. It's powerful, it's in your face, it's loud, and I fucking love it. And Uyama Hiroto, naturally, as always, whenever he features or whenever he just fucking plays sax in general, it fucking kills this shit. And I think even Nujabes himself plays flute on it. I know he did it in a live concert, but god fucking damn, Next View is fucking insane. I've always wanted to use it in like an animation, just never. I just have to find time to like choreograph it and stuff. Spiral is an interesting track. I wouldn't put it that high just because of how almost standard it feels. And if I had to assume, I feel like Nujabes finished like 80% of this, and Uyama just had some finishing touches on it because it does feel very Nujabes. I'll put it right there. Sky is Tumbling. I love the drums on this. The piano is really nice on this track. Star sounds amazing on this shit. Where am I gonna put it? I think I'll put it at the top. I think it's the top of the B tier track. Color of Autumn, one of my favorite Nujabes tracks of all time, actually. Funny enough, I think it's a track that it could actually stand to be longer. I feel like it understays its welcome. So I don't think there's any complex emotions when it comes to Color of Autumn. It is a very kind of just like lying down in bed, just chilling with your body pillow, if you have a body pillow, and just fucking just chilling. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Lovesick Part 5. I have a really weird relationship with Lovesick Part 5. I think it's a very powerful song. But here's my thing. I can't listen to it all the time. It's a lot like Kendrick Lamar's You, in that it is a very powerful song. You just can't have it on sometimes, you know? Where I have to be in a certain kind of mood to listen to Lovesick Part 5 and You. They're very emotional tracks. And sometimes I just want to have something to run in the background. Again, it's the fucking... I'm drawing and I need music to listen to in the back. I'm not listening to Lovesick Part 5. I'm willing to put it there. It's a very powerful track. I believe this is Kumomi. Kumomi is fucking amazing. I think Kumomi translates to watching clouds. I think Mi refers to eyes and Kumo refers to clouds. Is it over Next View? I think it is. This is just a little. This is also another formulative track for me, which is pretty crazy to say, but I really was listening to this shit regularly when I was younger, and I still do. It's just so anxiety relieving and stuff. And as someone with a lot of like gets stressed out pretty easily and has like a lot of anxiety, especially in social settings, like when I was in school and shit, I would put on Kumomi and just it would really help me out. By the way, school is a fucking nightmare. I brought it up, I have to say that school is a fucking nightmare for some people like me. For people like me. It is surrounded by people all the fucking time, and it's just like, when the fuck do I just get to be by myself? It is like 6-7 hours of just you being surrounded by fucking people. And of course work is like that as well. But yeah, kumomi, I treasure it because first of all, the piano is fucking beautiful. Has a nice drum, super atmospheric. And it is a transportative. I think because it's so transportative, that's why it helped me so much when I was like stressing out over just being next to other fucking people. High to Lows is a very standard track for me. I think the piano's nice. Maybe a little repetitive. There's a I don't know what instrument it is. There's like a dun, 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 kind of noise in the background that comes up every now and then. I really fuck with that shit. I think Star. I think it is just Star. Yeah, so Star, he brings some nice verses. Obviously, on these kind of beats, he just sounds really nice over them. But I wouldn't put it that high. I mean, it's A tier. It's pretty fucking high. People Don't Stray. I don't remember this fucking track. I was. I don't fucking know. I'm sorry. If you like this track, just tell me why I'm wrong. I just don't have any fucking. I can at least kind of remember what Plasma Avenue sounds like. I don't remember what People Don't Stray sounds like. And the only reason I put over Plasma Avenue is because there's no way it's under Plasma Avenue, you know what I'm saying? Filo has a really nice beat. I love the whistle sample. It's really nice. And it's another example of the kind of beat Shingo 2 sounds really nice over. I don't have much to say about it. Ordinary Joe is fucking S tier. I don't know. I'll put it right here. I think Music Is Mine is over it actually. Ordinary Joe, Terry Callier, really nice voice, smooth fucking voice. There's a flute that Nujabes does on here, which I've seen some people describe as very, like I guess tacky or I don't know, like very like poorly played or something. I think it fits the theme of the song perfectly because it's not perfectly played. Like that's the point. I love the lyrics and I really like the fucking the feelings in the song. Oh, last track. It sucks, but this is the last track. I'm saying it sucks that the tier list is done. I'm not saying this song fucking sucks. Flowers is great. Flowers is great. I wouldn't put it over Thank You. It's a low S tier. I know that for sure. Interesting thing about Flowers is that it's a relatively simple track, and there's not a lot of like change up and varieties in it. But it just kind of works, right? I really have no issue with Flowers. Even though, like, if someone said it was repetitive, I would get it completely. I wouldn't argue that. But I just really like Flowers. The piano, it just sounds really, like, whimsical and stuff like that. And the occasional, like, flowers, vocals, sounds really nice. Yeah. And looking back on it, metaphorical music... I say Modal Soul is my favorite, but I think metaphorical music is kind of topping this shit. Apparently, Letter from Yokosuka is my favorite fucking Nujabes track. Also, it is missing some Samurai Champloo stuff. God fucking damn. But I don't know why they have the other side of phase in like their instrumental for battlecry here, but they don't have battlecry itself. I almost feel like, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. Okay, so I decided to just pull up a fucking Samurai Champloo tier list so I can more accurately give a general idea of where I think these tracks go. Obviously, Battlecry is S tier. I would actually say it's a high S tier. For the same reasons I gave the other side of Phase S tier, I give it A tier. But with Shingo 2, it is S tier. The space between two worlds is interesting. I think if it was a little shorter, I might like it a bit more. Though I think it does overstay its welcome, and it's a pretty repetitive track. Although the drums are really nice. It just sounds really good in general, it's just that it overstays its welcome. So yeah. This guy didn't even spell it right. Aruarian Dance. I come to really appreciate it, you know? I used to think it was a little overrated, but I do see why people like it so much. And honestly, a lot of times I listen to it, it does get my creativity going sometimes. And I want to do like a little animation to it, stuff like that. So I really like it quite a bit. It also has a good amount of things to keep it fresh. The way the sample changes and stuff like that. Very solid stuff. It's also a very simple sample. I don't think Nujabes has flipped anything. I think the only thing he really did, the only thing complex he really did was add his own instrument on top of it. So yeah, Kujaku is S tier. I love this shit. Even though you could say it overstays its welcome, I think it's just enough. But I'll say this for Kujaku. It's a fun track and it gets my imagination going. And tracks like those, I fucking love tracks like those. Mistline, I would say it's a high A tier. Really atmospheric. I love the piano, it sounds really nice. The progression throughout the track is really nice. And funny enough, I listened to Moment of Truth recently from Gangstar, by Gangstar. And DJ Premier actually samples the same sample as Nujabes. And when I heard that, I was like, holy shit. DJ Premier and Nujabes are easily top 5 hip-hop producers. I don't care what you say. Listen, every time I see a top 5 producers list without Nujabes in it, no fucking honor, not even like honorable mention to Nujabes. Like seriously, I know he's an overseas producer, but goddamn, give him his credit, dog. This guy's fucking insane. I know he gets plenty of love online, but even online, listen. Online is where I see those top 5 lists, and they don't put Nujabes in there. Give Nujabes his fucking credit. Maybe they don't know who Nujabes is, but expand your fucking horizons. Okay. First Samurai, low S tier. I love it. It sounds really frantic. It sounds really high strung, and it fits the scene it's in perfectly. I love that scene. It's one of my favorite fights in Samurai Champloo. Now I'm assuming the green is force of nature. This is really nice because the color coded the purple or orchid or whatever the fuck this color is. Seems to be Fat John. This is a Nujabes track. I didn't rate this on the other one, did I? Okay, I'll rate it right now. Yeah, Shiki no Uta is an easy fucking... goes right there. Iconic anime ending. Obviously, the beat is very similar to Beat Laments the World, which, you know, I love that shit. Minmi kills on the fucking vocals. Yeah. And I was just saying, I think the green is force of nature, and the white would be Tsuchi. I really like that because I feel like the other producers don't get as much credit as they deserve on the Samurai Champloo soundtrack. Especially Tsuchi. Tsuchi is... I've listened to some of his solo stuff. This guy's great. And I want to listen to more of Force of Nature, although their style isn't really for me. But yeah, moving on. I don't even know what this one sounds like. Sanctuary Ship is nice until Nujabes discovers a new button on his fucking sampler and just starts fucking spamming shit. That's just me when I'm playing like an online game and there are voice lines in it. I just spam shit, okay? But in this case, it's in music form. Not a huge fan of that. Haiku is great. Haiku is great. Only thing is, it understays its welcome. I like Color of Autumn, but I think it's a great track. Tsurugi no Mai, low S tier. It has a really nice swing to it. That's what I really like about this track. It has a really nice swing to it. And I think it is a perfect example of how easily and well done hip hop can be incorporated into anime. And I wish more hip hop was in anime. I don't know why anime is allergic to hip hop. Hip hop can work in fight scenes. It can work in more slice of life, daily life situations. We all know what lo-fi hip hop is. We all know what Nujabes is. I'm not saying Nujabes is lo-fi hip hop, by the way. I'm just saying we all know what lo-fi hip hop is. We're all familiar with that sound. It is a very good sound for a mundane task. Dead Season is really interesting. And it's one of those tracks that are so fucking loud that if I have my playlist, if I have my shit turned up to max, and this track plays after some random ass track, it blasts my fucking ears. I think it's a really interesting track. Especially coming from Nujabes. I love Decade. That's just the perfect title for this track, actually. World Without Words is interesting because I do think it's really good. It's just that it overstays its welcome just a little bit. I would still put it in low S tier. Kodama is great. I love the bass on this track. I'll put it overworld without words. Maybe over Tsurugi no Mae. Silver Morning is right here. I rated Who's theme. Brothel Love is really nice. I especially love the scene that it plays in. You know, Jin was trying to save that girl from basically being holed out. And it's a really nice story. It fits the scene really well. And yeah. Where would I put it though? Also, I love the percussion on this track. That's like the standout thing to me. I would put it right here. Counting Stars already rated it, but that's everything. And I want to go back to my last one. Let's go back. But yeah, looking back on this, I used to say Modal Soul is my favorite, but it might be on equal standing with metaphorical music. Now that I look at it, they both have their extremely high S's. They both have their low S's. I'd say, okay, it does look like a low tier metaphorical music track is much lower than Modal Soul. Modal Soul's lowest is A tier, so I guess that's where my favoritism comes in. But yeah, this is actually pretty fun to make. I don't know, I was kind of dreading it because I know I wouldn't be able to rate every track, and that did turn out to be the case. And funny enough, there is actually one track that's missing called Child's Attraction, which is another example of Nujabes shifting towards that house kind of style. And if you're asking where it would go, I would put it somewhere in like high B, low A, just because it has a really nice piano, all that stuff. Really good progression on that track. But yeah, I don't know. I've just been in a weird mood recently. I wouldn't call it a weird mood, but I've been in a Nujabes mood recently. And by recently, I mean basically all the time. And I don't know, this guy the train never stops with this guy, even though he's not making music anymore, unfortunately. I do genuinely wish he got the recognition he deserved. I do wish he was a name you would hear outside of certain internet spaces. You're gonna hear him in the lo-fi spaces. You're gonna hear him in maybe like a hardcore or like underground hip-hop producer space, but you're not gonna really hear him in a comment section regarding best producers. I do wish he got his credit. He literally had a hand. I'm not saying he did it by himself, but he literally had a hand in the creation of lo-fi hip-hop. And you know, whether or not you like lo-fi hip-hop is another question, but this guy did influence an entire fucking group of producers that make a certain kind of music. Again, whether or not you like it is a completely different question, but the fact is, that's what he did. And also, if you like Nujabes stuff, seriously, check out Uyama Hiroto. He's worked with Nujabes very closely and frequently, and it shows in his solo works. You'll see their styles rub off on each other, or have rubbed off on each other. I do recommend Haruka Nakamura, who I think has even done work for like TV shows and shit at this point. Substantial solo stuff, really good. But outside of that, you know when people are like, oh, if you like Nujabes, go listen to this. That never ends well, because there's really no such thing as a Nujabes like. Again, closest thing you'll get is maybe that like a one-off track from some random artist, or fucking Uyama Hiroto. But even Uyama Hiroto leans a lot more towards jazz, and especially on his most recent album, which is just straight jazz. And that's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying there really is nothing like Nujabes, and there's a reason why people have been obsessing over his shit forever, because there's nothing like it. There's nothing like Nujabes. Like recently, I can't even say recently, maybe like almost 2 years ago now, I was recommended certain artists, Condor, Blazo, there was another one, I forgot, but you get told to listen to these producers, and I go listen to them, and I do like their stuff. It's just that, like Nujabes, not really. It's just chill music. Chill music gets grouped together, and I wouldn't say Nujabes is like Ginseng, the lo-fi producer, or again Blazo or Condor or any of these other producers. That's not to say their shit is trash, because I actually do fuck with ginseng quite a bit, and I think Blazo is acceptable, but it really is nothing like Nujabes. It's like trying to recommend a game like fucking like Neo 2. It's like how do you do that? There's nothing like it. Or a game like Sekiro. You can't do that because it literally just doesn't exist. I can give you a game in the same genre, but it's not gonna be like Sekiro. But yeah, greatest artist of all time, up there with should be on records from me. I was editing the video. Turns out not every Nujabes track is on there. Not even, there's literally songs missing from Modal Soul and Spiritual State. So let's start with Eclipse, because I mentioned a song for the wifey when I was talking about Hikari. And this is what I was talking about. Eclipse, I would say it's A tier only because I have to be in a special kind of mood to listen to Eclipse. It is a really nice beat, substantial. Like I said, I do prefer this kind of stuff a lot more from him. If we're talking like romantic shit, I do prefer this kind of stuff a lot more. But next up, The Light on the Land, S tier. This shit is extremely atmospheric. I think Nujabes has like a whale sound in there, a cricket sound, really nice melody, really good fucking beat. So yeah, that's Modal Soul. Gone Are the Days. Right there, right next to Sky's Tumbling. And now, Gone Are the Days is interesting because it says featuring Uyama Hiroto, so naturally it's gonna have an Uyama sound to it, but it sounds very Uyama Hiroto, like something that would be on Freedom of the Sun, on his, I think it was the 2014 album. It's really good. And when I say that, I mean especially because the perks, the sax, and obviously Uyama, he's on the track, he has the sax, and he's gonna pop the fuck off. So yeah, I believe these are all the tracks that are missing from Spiritual State that are missing on the first list. Let's go Dawn on the Side. I do really like the melody of Dawn on the Side, and there is some variety here and there to keep things fresh, but I feel like it takes a little too long to get there. So I'd say for the first 2 minutes of this track, you're basically just listening to the same loop. But yeah, it's a good track. Now, Rainy Way Back Home, I would put it over Dawn on the Side. And I would say it has the same issue, except it's about half the length of Dawn on the Side. So you don't really run into that issue of it being too long. Now, Fowls is really interesting because there is a main melody. I don't know what instrument is playing it, but it sounds really nice. I love it. The beat is really bouncy. I like it. And there's enough variety here and there to keep things fresh. And I probably said that a shit ton of times, but you know, it is important. Now, Fellows is also a great track. Short and sweet, and a lot of moving parts to it. Not in an overwhelming way, but in a way that's still clear. There's clarity to the track despite all that's going on. It's bouncy, and this is something that I would nod my head to immediately as soon as it comes on. Like if I'm at work, listen to my playlist. Okay, Fellows comes on, fucking with this shit. But that should be every track besides one I haven't mentioned. So Ribbon in the Sea. I don't know how much of that is Nujabes', but it is featured on Uyama Hiroto's first solo album, A Son of the Sun. Now, if there is one track on that album that really encompasses or represents the album cover, it would be Ribbon in the Sea, which is funny because it's a Nujabes track. I don't know how much of it is Nujabes, but I'm pretty sure Nujabes is credited as a producer. But if I was putting Ribbon in the Sea in a tier, if I was ranking it, it would go in S tier because that shit is atmospheric, really nice sampling, good drums, and again, it is another one of those Nujabes tracks that will just transport you to a different fucking dimension when you just hear that shit. I can hear the fucking piano in my head right now. It's so fucking good.